So outside of Buffy, what other types of stuff would you like to do? I mean, do you even have time for...
I would say that in between season 8 and season 9, I would love to take a break and tackle some superhero stuff, because while I absolutely love the whole melodrama of the Buffy universe, I do have a love for drawing superheroes, and I would love to cleanse my palette a little bit by drawing heroes and then be that much stronger coming back to Buffy later on next year.
Well, that's kind of like American Way, which you did with Wildstorm.
Yeah.
So you kind of started out doing more superheroes.
Yeah, my career started out with Superboy and Green Lantern and then Gambit and then a whole bunch of comic characters. And had you told me I would be drawing Buffy the Vampire Slayer 15 years ago, I would have called you crazy, because I didn't think that character had any teeth to her. Little did I know.
Well, the other thing you mentioned at the panel is that you always kind of wanted to bring Christy Swanson's likeness into it. Do you ever think you'll do that as like an Easter egg? Do you think you could get away
that is
with
such
it?
a personal thing to me. And yes, if those who've been reading the book know, I tend to sneak stuff in there. But I was more, and I mentioned that to Joss, I was really more into Christy being more part of the canon than just sneaking her in. But of course, he was very much the separation of church and state, and never the two shall meet, which is fine. But yeah, I wouldn't be object to putting Christy's likeness back there somewhere, like I did with the Doctor and Rose some years ago. So yeah, who knows? Who knows? If the opportunity presents itself, I'm not going to say no.
You've also mentioned that there's a far more explicit drawings of the space fracking that will supposedly never see the light of day. So probably a lot of us just want to know, who did you use as reference for Angel's, you know?
Actually, there's some friends of mine who are married, and they are a couple, and whenever I draw a book, I tend to use a lot of reference. And they are always coming over to the studio and hanging out, and then, you know, just doing reference, oh, Buffy holding the sigh, or she's flying, or whatever. And when I got the script to issue 35, I think it was, I called them up and said, hey guys, all right, the next month I'm going to need some more reference, but I probably should come over to your apartment for this one, because there's a lot going on that I don't think you want to come to the studio and be caught in compromising positions with. So of course they were more than open, and I went, and yeah, this was sort of a closed set. And we took a bunch of reference, which is true. I think a lot of actors who say, is it awkward filming sex scenes or intimate scenes? They're like, no, it's really funny, because out of context, that emotion really isn't there. And the same was this. When we were taking pictures, it was like, all right, they're having sex this way, and they're doing this, and those guys couldn't stop laughing because it was just so silly.
Did they actually do it nude? Or?
No, they didn't. I think I'm a little better of an artist than to have them actually be nude. Although, you know, as a preference, who knows, whatever. I don't mind being a little voyeuristic and saying, you know, guys, go at it and I'll just move around you. But no, they had little bathing suits on, and I was working around them.
Well, how are you enjoying Dragon Con, and how many have you been to?
I love it. God, I think this is, I actually used to come as a non-pro, so I would walk the show, and then I think now 10 years I'm now here as a professional, and I swear it just keeps getting better. I know some people have criticisms about Dragon Con, but I've always loved it because I've embraced it for the animal that it is. I think a lot of people always wanted to change it, and I've always been a guy who's like, look it for what it is and embrace the chaos that it is. So I'm always reminded of that Star Trek episode where it's in the first season and Picard just starts laughing because there's so much going on his ship that he can't control, and he just starts busting out and laughing, and he's like, sometimes you just have to laugh at it because otherwise you just go crazy.
Well, excellent. Well, thank you very much for
Anytime.
your time.
Thank you. It's always good seeing and talking to you.
Good to see you too.